So we have Dan O'Connell. Dan's out of the Dracut office. Brenda Albert, who I'm lucky enough to have right in my own backyard in Central Mass. And Leanne Tronin, who's from the Peabody office. Awesome. All right, so tell me a little bit, really short and sweet, about how many transactions you do a year, how many people you have, what support staff you have.
Okay, I'm gonna be the first one to tell you that I don't track my numbers, and I apologize for that.
I think I told you to have those ready for you.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I have an assistant that I should have given that task to, but they didn't do it. But I've been doing this for 25 years, and it's been a great business for me. We do a lot of transactions. We have a lot of fun. So what else did you ask me? I'm sorry.
So you said you have some support staff. What do you have for support staff?
So I have my wife. Obviously, she's back there somewhere.
Woohoo!
Give her a shout out. I have a full-time administrative assistant, Don. He's fantastic. Stole him from another agent, and he's been great. But I've had a lot of great assistants over the years, and that's the key, I think, to my business, is having good staff behind you.
Do you have a buyer's agent?
No,
or
you know what's
listing
funny?
Agents?
I let everybody do everything.
Good.
I don't want to limit them. I definitely don't want to limit their income. So I make sure that they do everything. I don't want to just pigeonhole somebody to a buyer agent or a sales agent, or a rental agent or whatever. I just I think a good agent's going to be well-rounded and they can do it all.
Awesome.
Personally. So.
Yep. Brenda?
I'm Brenda Albert. I've been in real estate for 32 years. I've taken the slow and steady role of this job. Initially started and I thought, oh, this is going to be a great job. I've got my first child. I'm just going to set my own hours. Little did I realize I would have needed babysitters morning, afternoon, and night. But as time went on, my business has grown. I've kept getting more and more serious about it. In the last 10 years, I've brought on Mike McLaughlin, who works with me, also my fiance, but he does a lot of my backup stuff, my signs, my appraisals, smokes, certified handyman. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't have to go out and do anymore. Also have a transaction coordinator. I use Zora from LAER, and I have a part-time administrative assistant. So
Brenda, because you're using a TC, at what point in your career were you able to give up that control and say somebody else can do it better than me? Because
I think Stacy
80% of the room needs to hear that.
I was saying to Stacy, oh my God, I'm going crazy. She's like, you need a transaction coordinator. I'm like, I'm too much of a control freak. I can't do that. Nope, I can't. Nope. And I started to do it. And my transaction control person is more of a control freak than me. So like now I'm happy to the point that I'll be like, okay, she's calling me. It's like, oh, but she does a great job. And I feel as soon as I hand it over, I know it's being dealt with. But you have to find that person.
Does she communicate to your clients on your behalf, or
Yes.
does she send you the paperwork and you communicate it?
She does everything. I turn it over at the offer. She sends out the letter that says, I'm here. This is what I'm doing. Please contact me. She coordinates Mike with the smoke detector. She does everything all the way to the end. So as soon as I have an accepted offer, she's involved.
Awesome. So awesome. Leanne, why'd you get into real estate?
I got into real estate so that I could have the flexibility to grow a business and grow myself and also raise my children and be there for school drop-offs, pickups, baseball games, and all of the things that I should be there for as a mom. And I was able to do that. They're now 17 and 19, so they're needing me less these days. So I feel like now's time to grow. And I'm standing up here on this stage right now, and this is something I'm not comfortable doing. And so you all know that you have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable in order to grow. So here I am in front of all of you. You're seeing me for the very first time. Standing up here being super uncomfortable. So, and I will say I do have some support. I have the leverage department handling all of my transactions, and they do a fantastic job. And in the first year when I hired them, my business grew by 20%. So I highly recommend, if you're at a point of growth or even before you feel like you need help, get the help, because you will grow. I recently hired a social media person who's going to help me with my online presence and also post for me a few times a week. We're still getting used to each other, so it's not perfect, but it's a work in progress, just like anything else.
That's
I
awesome.
have to add, I do have a social media person also, so I just want to make sure you know that.
Yeah.
Because that's huge.
It's important.
Oh yeah.
I got to add something too. I forgot. My son does handle my REO side of the business, so I forgot him. He's a great asset also. And I don't have a social media person. I am the social media person.
Yeah.
And my son too.
Yeah.
So I got to add that in a TC. I
Yeah.
can't seem to hand that over.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
The TC did make my business
Oh,
grow.
makes
I
such a
think that was a
difference.
huge
Yeah.
part of not having to think about the day to day unless something blew up, and then you have to get involved. But
Does your son realize what a gift it was for you to give him that REO
Ooh,
stuff?
I don't know, Danny. Is that a curse or is that was that a good thing? No, actually, it's funny. When he came to me, you know, he was in college and he said, "Dad, I'm done." You know, I said, "Great. Here's this client," and literally, I think he had 100 listings that year from that one client. It was ridiculous. But you know, he was loving it. He did a great job with it. But it was something I couldn't handle. I would have had to give it up. So you know, it was good.
What do you guys think about this current market, and how do you talk about it with your clients?
You want to take that first, or?
It's tricky. It's tough. It's not as easy as it has been the last few years, and you have to handle each transaction individually, and each situation is different, just like anything. But I feel like it's a little bit more challenging than it has been in the past couple of years, but still doable. You have to have a positive attitude always, and you know, you have to guide your clients and give them the best advice you possibly can.
yeah, I think the market. I kind of like it. I think the last couple of years have been really stressful. Feel like sometimes you're doing things that you had to question and say, "Are you sure you really want to do this? I'm going to give you all the reasons why. Here's all the risks." Now I feel like it's just more normal. Here's this house. Yes, there's a shortage in inventory, but I just feel like there's more. It's not as crazy feeling. I'm actually enjoying it. Yeah, there's home inspections are back, and we're doing some negotiating. We get to use our negotiating skills a little bit right now, where before it was like you couldn't negotiate anything. So
I can be honest. I think it sucks. It is so freaking hard to get an offer accepted. To, you know, I feel bad for these first-time home buyers. Sorry, I didn't know if you could hear me there. And again, the slight's really tough here, guys. But I think it's really hard. I mean, you guys know, you got 50 showings, you got 25 offers, and you know you got to deal with deadlines and all this other bullshit that I don't want to deal with. But it's ridiculous. I mean, I got a lot of new agents on the team, and I feel bad because they don't know what a normal market is, you know. So they came in over the last couple of years, and it's just been so inflated that they have no idea what it's really like to, you know, have a house sit on the market for 30, 60, 90 days. You know, if they don't get an offer in 3 days, they call me, "Damn, what's going on? Why isn't it sold?" And I'm like, just be patient, okay? Be patient, relax. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of this, but it's good, obviously, for the sellers. You know, they're getting top dollar, but overall, I'm not a big fan.
So we have sellers that have this mindset of 2020, 2021, 2022. And, you know, now we're starting to at least balance out in some portions of New England. What do you say when they say, well, I say, you know, it's 500,000, but they want 550.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go. So I basically, I hope everybody has their different approach. So what I normally do is I say, "Listen, sir, is it Johnny? Johnny, listen, I'll list your property at that price, but after 1 week, if we have no offers and no showings, we have to go to my price, okay?" So I'll play along with them just to pacify them, but at the end of the day, like, we got to come back to reality quick, you know. But a lot of times, you know, I'll show them the comps, I'll try to make sense of it, and, you know, here it is, black and white right in front of you. What do you think? What would you list it at? You know, of course, they're still going to want top dollar, but at the end of the day, it's like, but you can't ignore this one or that one, you know. But you just, it's simple. Just keep it simple. Don't try to do too much. But like I said, at the end of the day, take the listing. By all means, guys, take the listing, get it, and then, you know, just have that conversation with them and say, "Listen, you got to come back to reality after a week, maybe 2 weeks, or even 30 days for that matter. You know, if you want it to be a little bit longer." But that's the way I handle it.
I agree. You know,
Yeah.
take the listing, but I do educate the seller in regards to this is what you are. This is what this is your house, this is this house. I tell them that I'm a fan of going just a little bit under, finding that right number to just attract as many people in as we can. But if they choose to say, yeah, I don't want to do that, you just try to convince them that does work. And here's the examples that have happened. But if they choose not to, I'll take the listing and then we just have to address the price decreases as we go along.
I have a little bit of a different view. I don't really like to overlist my listings. I like to price them just right. So if they want 550 and I feel like it's only worth 500,000, I tell them, sure, you can get 550. But you're going to have to put a little addition off the back. So can we add some more square footage so that you can get that? Because I can get that for you, but you're going to have to spend some money to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then they understand a little bit more like, oh, okay, she knows what she's talking about. So they end up going with my price. Or maybe they'll hire somebody else and that's okay because they'll go with the higher price. It'll sit on the market. I get to watch that. And in the end, it'll end up selling for what I told them. So
I love that.
yeah.
All
It can
right.
go either way.
Go.
One thing I just want to add to that is, as agents, right, we can't measure what people are willing to pay above and beyond what we can justify for a price. So you got to keep that in mind when you get in these listings. Sometimes you got a person that, that's a round hole and they're a round peg and they're willing to pay another $100,000 for this house. I mean, I've seen it happen. It's crazy, but there's so much cash on the streets right now, guys. You got to be careful that you actually could get your seller another $100,000 and you don't even know it.
Right.
So, that's something I'd still take the listing regardless. I don't care if they get put addition on or whatever, but I would take it. And like I said, just set the expectations. Let's give it a week, 2 weeks, whatever. But take that listing. Don't let Redfin or any of these other companies get that listing. Get the listing.
I know.
Okay? Get the listing.
He sells more than I do, so listen to him.
Yeah.
I agree. Don't say that.
I think,
And guys, minimum 6-month contracts.
Yes.
Nobody should be signing anything less than a
Yes.
6-month contract at all times. Okay?
so you have a client that comes to you and says, listen, we've heard really great things about you. We want to work with you, but I'm only going to sign it for 3.
Yeah. We might open another bottle of wine at that point, and
Is it good wine?
yeah, we'll get
Okay.
them. We'll get them to sign the 6-month. But yeah, we typically want to. I'll hang out there as long as I have to. My wife knows. We'll get them to sign a 6-month.
Yeah.
And I always, and again, I always put in there. If you're not happy, Johnny, just tell me. We'll cancel this contract right now. Okay.
Because your reputation's more
Yeah.
important.
Nobody's ever asked to be out of the contract, but I always offer it. It's going to be 6 months, but if you want out tomorrow, done deal.
Do you
Okay.
build out the price reductions in your contract?
I do not. No, I do not.
All right. So, one of the things that Tom said earlier today is working. And I think, you have to work. We all have to work every day. And there's really easy ways for each of us to find ways not to do that. We get in our own head. I know that these 3 people are up working all the time. And Dan went to the office, like every day you go to the office. What's important about going to the office for you?
Oh, God. Okay. So actually, I have a lot of notes here, guys. But so one thing, again, I know people like to work from home. I know Leanne, we were talking backstage. She only works from home. She loves it. I am a huge be in the office guy. Okay. When I first started this business, okay, is Gary Truvel here? No. Okay. So I was brand new. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. But here's this guy, and I watched him every day. He'd get in the office, and it got to a point where I had to beat him to the office every day. And, I don't know if he knew it, but I was always trying to emulate Gary. And he'd get in there at, say, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and he would get so much work done because there's nobody in the office. You can get so much work done by getting there early, okay? Then when 9 o'clock hits, that's usually, for me, when the shit hits the fan. Everybody starts calling, and things are happening. But by getting in there to the office every day, you're going to run into Jess Malzone, for example, at the copy machine. I'm going to find out that she just got this listing. Jill. Where's Jill? Yeah, Jill was at our office the other day. She was making copies. I said, hey, what do you got there? She's like, I got a 2-family. I'm like, oh my God, that thing's beautiful. So I circulated that around my team real quick to see if anybody had anybody. But those little conversations at the copy machine, at the coffee machine, the coffee machine, the front desk, whatever. You guys are missing that by not being in the office and finding exactly who has what, okay? Having lunch with somebody in the office or whatever. I don't usually have lunch in the office. That's my 30 minutes alone time. I always get out of the office. But by being in the office, there's so many immeasurable things that you guys don't understand you're missing, okay? all the interactions with everybody. That's why I'm there usually every day, 8 to 5 minimum. But I get a lot of things done. I'm in and out obviously all day on appointments, but I think if you can get to the office, get to the office. It's a different mentality, okay? Then, oh, I can do this load of laundry, or I can do this or that, you know?
I was going to ask. Do you
Honey,
do laundry?
come on. Help me out here. Dish. That's because I'm never home, that's why. Okay? I actually, I put one in this morning. I folded this one, didn't I?
So, Leanne, where you work primarily from home, what are you doing to structure your day so that you can have a productive work day?
I always have a plan the night before. I always know what I need to do, what I need to get done, and I time block. So I'll have time for this and time for that. And I get up early and I start my day early, and the phone calls start at 9 for me too. But there's peace in my house. Like, you know, there's nobody there. I can think, it's quiet, you know, I can start my work day.
You have dogs?
I have dogs. They want to go in and out all day long.
Yeah, I was going to say that's...
They do. They're like, what are you doing sitting there judging? They're so cute.
All right. So I would love to know, Tom talked a little bit today about open houses and mega open houses and how most agents, like me, sometimes show up 5 minutes beforehand with some listing sheets. What do you do to stir up business before an open house? And what do you bring to the table during an open house?
I don't do megas, so if you guys do megas, go ahead.
Do you do anything different?
I just do the social media blast, show up with my signs, and that's about it. But the last few years, we've been able to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, we may see that change, but it's still busy at open houses. You don't really have to put too much into it.
Yeah, I will tell you, I do show up a half an hour early because there are people that can't necessarily get there right on time at, say, 12. So if you get there 11:30, they're there a little early, I'll let them in. But I like to try to get there early, set up, you know, just relax a little bit. But there's always some early birds. And I always usually try to stay 15 minutes after too, guys. I don't know if you guys are out the door right at, you know, 2 o'clock, but you should always try to hang out 10 or 15 minutes after because there's always, you know, late people.
I do like Tom Ferry's recommendation. I think it'd be nice to invite all of the neighbors. I've done it before. I'm not consistent with it, so it's probably something I should add into my open house plan. But yeah, probably add that in.
The only hobby I have in the world is planning vacations. I love to go on vacations. It's pretty much, you know, one of the reasons why I work as hard as I do. How do you guys plan your year? Do you look at it? Do you plan out your vacations beforehand? Do you go on a whim? What's one of your motivations?
I mean, I go on vacations a few times a year, and I will go on a whim too. If somebody asks me if I want to go away for the weekend and I don't have much going on, I'll go. I'm spontaneous like that. And but I do have planned vacations. I love to take a vacation somewhere warm in January because we're slow and it's a good time to get away. I love to take my family whitewater rafting every single summer. It's something that we love to do as a family. The phones do not work that far up in Maine, so it's definitely a break where you're totally away from your phone and the internet. So it's a nice break. And then we sprinkle some other little getaways in here and there too.
We do 3 trips a year. We do June local. We take a week down the Cape. We do December vacation in Aruba. And what's the other one we do, Mike? We do one more vacation. We try to get one more like big one, and then we just do like little weekends here and there. But that's changed because I didn't do that, and the last 3 years we've pretty much said, you know, we've planned them out. There's three good trips a year.
Yeah, right now we work everything around my daughter, you know, and her schedule. So, you know, she's playing sports and got everything else going on. So we do vacation though. It's just when my wife tells me we're going to go on vacation. So that's when we go. Yeah. Dan,
All right.
I feel weird up here. I don't know what to do with my hands. You know, it's like
You're doing great.
Like, what are you doing? I know. It's like.
Did you ask Barbara Cochran what she does with her
Oh
hands?
God, let me tell you something. That woman, she's unbelievable. I don't know if you guys got to see that. I got to do a commercial with Barbara Cochran. You'll see it soon. But what an amazing woman and hilarious. She is so funny.
Who has some questions that wants to scale their business?
A buyer,
For sellers, before you list.
I don't do them. Either one. Matterport or pre-inspections.
Yeah, me either. I don't use Matterport. I'm not a fan. I just don't even like looking at them.
Well, actually,
They make me sick.
I will do
watch
my
them.
own. Like I'll go through and I'll go into the attic and look for mold. I'll look for like any little health and safety things when I'm doing my like listing appointment with them. They'll take me through the whole house. That's kind of like my pre-inspection. You know, I've actually had a couple that I found mold and we remediated before we even listed it. So like, if that's what you're talking about, I do that when I walk through the house with them.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't hire a company to do it.
Yeah, I don't unless it's a really like something's really glaring, and then we will bring in like maybe a contractor. But I don't tend to have my people do a pre-home inspection.
Yeah.
It's a big liability to do pre-listing inspections because you have to disclose everything that you know. So you will have to either fix it or disclose it. And so if your seller's open to doing that, but it's up to the buyer in their own due diligence to have their own inspection to make sure that they're making the right purchase for themselves. But Matterport, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's a great marketing tool. So if you like using it and it shows the floor plan in 3D, I don't see why you shouldn't use it.
I'm cheap, so I don't use it.
He's cheap and it makes him dizzy, apparently.
Me too.
Lost.
Anybody else? Yes, in the back.
I do strictly closing gifts. If you want to come list my house tomorrow, though, you can buy me a gift. Right?
Yeah, I don't do pre gifts. No. Maybe a cup of coffee if I'm going to their house and then do a market analysis. I'll sit with them, but usually I wouldn't. It would be more maybe at the closing for the buyer and closing for the seller.
I mean, it's your business. You can do whatever you want. So if it's your personality to bring a little gift with you when they're signing as a celebratory thing, I don't see anything wrong with that either, because in this business, you can be yourself. There's no black and white, right or wrong. Try things, make mistakes, because if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying. So if you think you want to bring a little gift to celebrate, do it. You're going to build rapport. They're going to remember you because the next agent didn't do that. So I say bring the gift if you feel like it.
Alcohol works.
Yeah.
Cookies, alcohol, something for their dog, something for their kid. They'll remember that.
I saw recently on Instagram, some agents were bringing some of the black champagne bottles that you can write with chalk Sharpies on them. So Carol Labonte and I have been bringing those to all of our buyer consultations and giving them to the buyers and saying, I want you to write on this what your goals are, where you want your house to be, what price range you want it to be in, and we're going to open it on the day that we close.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I like to make things a party.
I've had that happen. They tell you. Yeah, and it's like you don't know. I mean, not like you don't know everybody's personal history, but they, you know, if they went to AA or whatever, like most, it's happened to me. They've told me, oh, I can't drink it, but the wife takes it right away, you know, or whatever. So, you know, I'd still do it, but it's not. You'll be okay.
I did a broker open house once in my 30 years, and I did have alcohol, and it was the last time I would ever do it. There were actually realtors that came in early and left late, and the whole time I'm like, oh my God, who's responsible? What happens? I hope the cops aren't out there, because I mean, really, who's responsible? I'm there from my broker's office, yet I'm in someone else's house and I'm serving alcohol. Like, oh, that was not a fan.
Well, I look at it like I just like to help people, you know, and you can look at, you know, any way you want. Like some of my teams back there, I took them to an auction about a month ago, right? I had done my research. I was interested in buying the property. So I did my research, looked at all the numbers, and then we get there and, you know, it just had a snowstorm that night before, and the auctioneer shows up. He posts his thing, you know, postponed. Okay, great. The lady comes out, starts talking to him. I immediately get out of my car, go listen. And when she was done talking to him, I grabbed her. I said, hey, can we come over here and talk, please? And I said, why are you letting this house go? You have so much equity in this house. And she's like, well, I didn't know what else to do, you know? So I ended up talking to her that day, and I helped her out of a really bad situation. We're under agreement right now. She was, you know, she only owed like 230. I knew I could sell it for 300 easy. We ended up putting on the market, getting 340 for her. So it's her, you know, her daughter, and her sister. Now, again, don't pay me a hero yet, because we still got 3 more weeks to go before we close. But I just like to help people. you know, and that's what it's all about, this business, guys. It's just, that's what gives me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
That's why you're successful.
Yeah, you
You're
know.
always
I like
helping
the people part too, the best. So if in my dream situation, if I could walk into my office, my desk is perfectly clear and I have someone doing paperwork here and someone's running that transaction and I'm out maybe just shaking hands and kissing babies and helping people and not dealing with the day-to-day paperwork stuff. That's just not my thing. I like the people thing. I went to a home show. I loved it. I was giving out my cards. I got to appointments, went to a senior center in Westminster with an attorney, did an estate planning class. It was great. I loved it. That's what I would want to be doing.
Yes.
You too.
And then I'll just add, stay social, join clubs, do things that you love, because when you're doing things that you love and you're being your authentic self, you become magnetic and then you'll attract more business in because you are being your authentic self.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey guys, if we can we bring Stacy out for a second, please?
Yeah.
Stacy,
Yes.
because without this woman, none of us would be here, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You guys don't understand how much she does for all of us. And thank you for bringing Tom Ferry. I've never seen him before. He was fantastic. But guys, Stacy Alcorn.
Yes. Woo!